Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnupraya Krishna Vastai Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharne Nivashesha Shrindavati Pasitari Shatarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gauravata Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripasindhubhya Patitana Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Om Jnana Tirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Amlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gauranga Nityananda Hare Krishna. So if you're new here, my name is Dan. I'm a former Marine, I'm a former monk, and now I just help people become the best versions of themselves. Spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially. It's all important, guys. You can't just like focus on one thing and neglect the other things. Everything's important. Like your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your financial health. It's all important, guys. Some people they neglect one area and focus on another, but it's not the way to do it, in my personal experience. Bhagavad-Gita As It Is, Chapter 1. Sanjaya, O king, after looking over the army gathered by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and began to speak the following words. Purport. Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision. He knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion, and he was sure that they could never reach an understanding with the Pandavas, who were all pious since birth. Still, he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage, and Sanjaya could understand his motive in asking about the situation on the battlefield. He wanted, therefore, to encourage the despondent king, and thus he warned him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Sanjaya therefore informed the king that his son Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief, Dronacharya, to inform him of the real position. Although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of the seriousness of the situation. He was therefore quite fit to be a politician. But Duryodhana's diplomatic veneer could not disguise the fear he felt when he saw the military arrangement of the Pandavas. Text 3. Pashyaitam Pandu Putranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyadam Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dimita. Pasha, behold, etam this. Pandu Putranam, of the sons of Pandu. Acharya, O teacher, Mahitim, great. Chamu, military force. Vayudam, arranged, Drupad Putrena, by the son of Drupad, Tava, your, Shishena, disciple, Dimata, very intelligent. Translation, O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciples, the son of Drupad. Purport, Duryodhana, a great diplomat, wanted to point out the defects of Dronacharya, the great Brahmana, commander-in-chief. Dronacharya had some political quarrel with King Drupad, the father of Drupadi, who was Arjuna's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Drupad performed a great sacrifice by which he received the benediction of having a son who would be able to kill Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew this perfectly well, and yet, as a liberal Brahmin, he did not hesitate to impart all his military secrets when the son of Drupad, Drishtadyumna, was entrusted to him for military education. Now, imagine that, right? Like, in the future, somebody's gonna, like, this person's gonna kill you, and you still teach him how to kill you. That's crazy, right? That's a liberal Brahmin. He's not a gatekeeper. He doesn't like keep his knowledge to himself. Okay. Now, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Drishtadyumna took the side of the Pandavas, and it was he who arranged for their military phalanx after having learned the art from Dronacharya. Duryodhana pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fighting. By this, he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly lenient in battle against the Pandavas, who were also Dronacharya's affectionate students. Arjuna especially was his most affectionate and brilliant student. Duryodhana also warned that such leniency in the fight would lead to defeat. Okay. Text 4. Atra Shura Maheshvasa. Bhima Arjuna Sama Yudi Yuyadano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharata. Atra here, Sura heroes, Maheshvasa, mighty bowmen, Bhima Arjuna, Bhima and Arjun. Shama equal, Yehudi in the fight, Yudana, Virata, Cha also, Drupad, Cha also, Maharat, great fighter, Maharata, great fighter. I have to sneeze. Okay. Hare Krishna. Jai. Bhagavad-Gita As It Is. Go read it. Next up, we got Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. First canto, chapter 7, translation. Srila Shukadeva Goswami, son of Srila Vyasadeva, was not only transcendentally powerful, he was also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. Thus, he underwent study of this great narration, Srimad Bhagavatam. Purport. According to Brahma, Vaivarta, and Purana, Srila Shukadeva Goswami was a liberated soul even within the womb of his mother. Srila Vyasadeva knew that the child after his birth would not stay at home. Therefore, he, Vyasadeva, impressed upon him the synopsis of the Bhagavatam so that the child could be made attached to the transcendental activities of the Lord. After his birth, the child was still more educated in the subject of the Bhagavatam by recitation of the actual poems. The idea is that generally the liberated souls are attached to the feature of the impersonal Brahman with a monistic view of becoming one with the supreme whole. But by the association of pure devotees like Vyasadeva, even the liberated soul becomes attracted to the transcendental qualities of the Lord. By the mercy of Sri Narada, Srila Vyasadeva was able to narrate the great epic of Srimad Bhagavatam, and by the mercy of Vyasadeva, Srila Shukadeva Goswami was able to grasp the import. The transcendental qualities of the Lord are so attractive that Srila Shukadeva Goswami became detached from being completely absorbed in impersonal Brahman and positively took up the impersonal activity of the Lord. Yeah, there's some people they want to merge into the impersonal feature of God. They want to merge into the energy or merge into the light. Okay. But that's not what we do here. We don't believe in that. We don't do that. Practically, he was thrown from the impersonal conception of the absolute, thinking within himself that he had simply wasted so much time in devoting himself to the impersonal feature of the Supreme. Or in other words, he realized more transcendental bliss with the personal feature than the impersonal. Yeah, I mean, there's more bliss with personalism is better than impersonalism, right? There's more fun when you actually interact with people, right? When you're actually interacting with people, it's more fun than just being by yourself all the time. Okay. And from that time, not only did he become very dear to the Vishnu Janas or the devotees of the Lord, but also the Vishnu Janas became very dear to him. The devotees of the Lord who do not wish to kill the individuality of the living entities and who desire to become personal servitors of the Lord do not very much like the impersonalists. And similarly, the impersonalists who desire to become one with the Supreme are unable to evaluate the devotees of the Lord. Thus, from time immemorial, these two transcendental pilgrims have sometimes been competitors. In other words, each of them likes to keep separate from the other because of the ultimate of the ultimate personal and impersonal realizations. Therefore, it appears that Srila Shukadeva Goswami also had no liking for the devotees, but since he himself became a saturated devotee, he desired always a transcendental association of the Vishnu Janas, and the Vishnu Janas also liked his association since he became a personal Bhagavat. Thus, both the son and the father were completely cognizant of transcendental knowledge of Brahman, and afterwards, both of them became absorbed in the personal features of the Supreme Lord. Brahman is like the effulgence of God, like the energy that you can merge into if you want to do that. Okay, I don't want to do that. I'd rather associate with the personality of Godhead, Krishna. It's my choice. You can do what you want, though. It's your life. The question as to how Shukadeva Goswami was attracted by the narrations of Bhagavatam is thus completely answered by the shloka. Text 12. Parikshito ta rajarshir, janma karma vilapanam, samstam chapandu putranam, vakshe Krishna katodayam. Parikshita of King Parikshit, ata, thus, rajarshe, the king who was the rishi among the kings, janma, birth, karma, activities, vilapanam, deliverance, Shamstam, renunciation of the world, Cha, and Pandu Putranam, the sons of Pandu, Vakshay, I shall speak, Krishna Kata Udayam, that which gives rise to the transcendental narration of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation. Sudha Goswami thus addressed the rishis, headed by Shanaka. Now I shall begin the transcendental narration of Lord Sri Krishna and topics of birth, activities, and deliverance of King Parikshit, the sage amongst kings, as well as the topics of renunciation of the worldly order by the sons of Pandu. Purport. Lord Krishna is so kind to the fallen souls that he personally incarnates himself amongst the different kinds of living entities and takes part with them in daily activities. Any historical fact, old or new, which has connection with the activities of the Lord is to be understood as a transcendental narration of the Lord. Without Krishna, all the supplementary literatures like the Puranas and the Mahabharata are simply stories or historical facts. But with Krishna, they become transcendental. When we hear of them, we at once become transcendentally related with the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is also a Purana, but the special significance of this Purana is that the activities of the Lord are central and not just supplementary historical facts. Srimad Bhagavatam is thus recommended by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the spotless Purana. There is a class of less intelligent devotees of the Bhagavad Puran who desire to relish at once the activities of the Lord narrated in the 10th canto without first understanding the primary cantos. You got to go through all the cantos. Don't just jump to the 10th canto. You got to purify your consciousness so you can understand the 10th canto, which is also Krishna book. Krishna book. Okay. Continuing on, my friends. Continuing on. So Vasudeva brought home another 200 beautiful girls along with his wife Devaki. While the bride and bridegroom were passing along the chariot, there were different kinds of musical instruments playing to indicate the auspicious moment. There were conch shells, bugles, drums, and kettle drums. Combined together, they were vibrating a nice concert. The procession was passing very pleasantly, and Kamsa was driving the chariot, when suddenly there was a miraculous sound vibrated from the sky, which especially announced to Kamsa, Kamsa, you are such a fool. You are driving the chariot of your sister and your brother-in-law, but you do not know that the 8th child of this sister will kill you. Kamsa was the son of Ugrasen of the Bhoja dynasty. It is said that Kamsa was the most demoniac of all the Bhoja dynasty kings. Immediately after hearing the prophecy from the sky, he caught a hold of Devaki's hair and was just about to kill her with his sword. Vasudeva was astonished at Kamsa's behavior, and in order to pacify the cruel, shameless brother-in-law, he began to speak as follows with great reason and evidence. He said, My dear brother-in-law Kamsa, you are the most famous king of the Bhoja dynasty, and people know that you are the greatest warrior and a valiant king. How is it that you are so infuriated that you are prepared to kill a woman who is your own sister at this auspicious time of her marriage? Why should you be so much afraid of death? Death is already born along with your birth. From the very day you took birth, you began to die. Suppose you are 25 years old. That means you have already died 25 years. Every moment, every second, you are dying. We are dying every second, my friends. We are dying every single second. Yay. Why then should you be so much afraid of death? Final death is inevitable. You may either die today or in 100 years. You cannot avoid death. We cannot avoid death, my friends. It's unavoidable. Why should you be so much afraid? Actually, death means annihilation of the present body. As soon as the present body stops functioning and mixes with the 5 elements of material nature, the living entity within the body accepts another body according to his present actions and reactions. It is just like when a man walks on the street, he puts forward his foot, and when he is confident that his foot is situated on solid ground, he lifts the other foot. In this way, one after another, the bodies change and the soul transmigrates. See how the plant worm changes from one twig to another so carefully. Similarly, the living entity changes his body as soon as higher authorities decide on his next body. So what kind of next body do you get? That's based on higher authorities like, God and, God, ultimately. As long as the living entity is conditioned within this material world, he must take material bodies one after another. His next particular body is offered by the laws of nature according to the actions and reactions of this life. So based on your actions and reactions, you're going to get another body. It could be a spiritual body and you can go back to Godhead, or it could be a material body and you're going to come back to this world of birth, death, old age, and disease. This body is exactly like one of the bodies which we always see in dreams. During our dream of sleep, we create so many bodies according to mental creation. We have seen gold, we've also seen a mountain, and so in a dream we can see a golden mountain by combining the two ideas. Sometimes in dreams we see that we have a body which is flying in the sky, and at that time we completely forget our present body. Similarly, these bodies are changing. That's true. You don't really remember. You don't even remember your body when you're dreaming, right? When you have one body, you forget the past body. Do you remember your past life? Do you remember your past body? I don't. Do you remember when you were a baby? I don't remember that. So we don't remember our past lives, even though we've had many, 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 many lives. During a dream, we may make contact with so many new kinds of bodies, but when we are awake, we forget them all. And actually, these material bodies are the creation of our mental activities. But at the present moment, we do not recollect our past bodies. The nature of the mind is flickering. Sometimes it accepts something and immediately it rejects the same thing. Accepting and rejecting is a process of the mind in contact with the 5 objects of sense gratification: form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. In its speculative way, the mind comes in touch with the objects of the senses. And when the living entity desires a particular type of body, he gets it. Therefore, the body is an offering by the laws of material nature. The living entity accepts a body and comes out again into the material world to enjoy or suffer according to the construction of the body. Unless we have a particular type of body, we cannot enjoy or suffer according to our mental proclivities inherited from the previous life. The particular type of body is actually offered to us according to our mental condition at the time of death. The luminous planets like the sun, moon, or stars reflect themselves in different types of reservoirs like water, oil, and ghee. The reflection moves according to the movement of the reservoir. The reflection of the moon on the water and the moving of water makes the moon also appear to be moving, but actually the moon is not moving. Similarly, by mental concoction, the living entity attains different kinds of bodies, although actually he has no connection with such bodies. But on account of illusion, being enchanted by the influence of Maya, the living entity thinks that he belongs to a particular type of body. You don't belong to any type of body. Like, you're not American, you're not Indian, whatever. You are temporarily, but that's not who you are. Even though I have all my American flags and stuff. But I know like this life, I'm an American body, but next life I could be any kind of body, right? So like, I'm aware of this. So some people on the outside, they might think like, oh, this guy's so like, he's so much in the bodily concept of life because he has American flags up. No, I do that. I have my reasons. That's just for business, my friends. Honestly, it's for business. But on account of illusion, being enchanted by the influence of Maya, the living entity thinks that he belongs to a particular type of body. That is the way of conditioned life. Like, so many people are identifying with their bodies. So many people think they're male, they think they're female, they think they're American, they think they're black, they think they're white. Nope, that's not who you are, guys. You're a spiritual being, you're a spiritual soul. This body, your body might be Indian, your body might be American, okay? But that's not who you are. You are the soul, okay? You are not your hand. You don't say I hand, you say my hand, my body. So you might have an Indian body, you might have an American body, you might have a white body, you might have a black body, you might have an Asian body, but that's not who you are. You are spiritual. You are consciousness. Okay. You are what is observing. You're the one that is seeing and observing through your eyes. That's you. Okay. You're not your eyes. You're seeing through your eyes. That's your consciousness. But on account of illusion, being enchanted by the influence of Maya, the living entity thinks that he belongs to a particular type of body. That is a way of conditioned life. Suppose a living entity is now in a human form of body. He thinks that he belongs to the human community, or a particular country, or a particular place. He identifies himself in that way and unnecessarily prepares for another body which is not required by him. Such desires and mental concoctions are the cause of different types of bodies. Yeah, your desires lead to your next body. So you better have good desires. You better have nice spiritual desires, or else. That's a complicated thing, my friends. But the point is, you got to make as much spiritual progress. See, that's the thing. You just got to make as much spiritual progress as you can in this life. So let's say you make 50% spiritual progress in Krishna consciousness. Then next life you're 51%. So you gotta understand that. So every day you should make as much spiritual progress. Even if you can make just a little bit of progress every day, you're winning. That's why you got to chant, and that's why you got to hear and chant consistently, because all that progress you make spiritually, it carries on with you to the next life. So you got to chant and hear every day. Even if you just do a little bit, something's better than nothing. Just try to get like 1% better every day at Krishna consciousness. That's it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaurani Tai, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jai Radha Shama Sundar, Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham, Jai Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Muna Devi, Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Sham, Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Nitai, Jai Gaur, Jai Shri Damayapur. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda, Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Shama Sundar, Radhe 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 Shama Sundar, Radhe Radhe Shama Sundar, Radhe Shama Sundar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hare Hare Bol, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Sham. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Go Ranga Nityananda, go Ranga Nityananda, go Ranga Nityananda, go Ranga Nityananda.